Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life of Emerald. We stand for mind, body, and soul. We are a studio co-creating a positive movement around the world via sharing ancient wisdom, spirituality, and practical healing strategies with thought leaders. A part of the 30-day happiness program, we have our expert, Dr. Narjes, with us today. Hi, Dr. Narjes.
Hello. Hi, Kate.
Dr. Narjes is a PhD holder and a research scientist in material science from Tohoku University in Japan. She is an international author and a certified meditation teacher. Our second week, we introduced to 5 emotional intelligence and did 5 doing practices. I hope you enjoy the activities. Now, according to Daniel Goleman, there are 5 emotional intelligence. There are self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills, empathy, and motivation. Today, Dr. Narjes will share her expertise in simple ways to reduce stress supported by science. Dr. Narjes, please guide us.
First of all, thank you, Kate, for having me. I'm so happy to be speaking with you and sharing my experience about stress. So first, I share with you a little bit of my own experience with the stress, my own personal story. So as you mentioned, my background is science. I studied physics, actually, and I received a PhD in material science. And I worked as a research scientist in universities and research institutes for almost 2 decades. About 10 years ago, I was facing a lot of stress in my professional life. In the workplace that I was working, at that time I was living in Singapore. I had found a job there and I was so happy about that. I love Singapore, I love the country, it's an amazing country. But the workplace that I was in was giving me a lot of stress. And that at that time, I did not have any skill how to manage my stress. So the stress started affecting all earlier areas of my life. I started developing anxiety. I couldn't think clearly. I couldn't focus. I wasn't productive anymore, and it started affecting my health as well. I couldn't sleep well. I was fatigued all the time. I had low energy all the time. So all these symptoms sent me to doctors. And I started seeing doctors, and I didn't know that all these symptoms are created by stress. So I was expecting the doctors to give me a magic pill to remove all my problems. But one doctor opened my eyes to a fact. She said that your problems, your symptoms will not go away unless you find a way to relax and unless you learn how to manage your own stress, because they are all created by your stress. And that was only when that I realized that all these symptoms, all these physical and mental health problems are coming from my stress. So I went on a search to find a real solution. And I found meditation. And I was very blessed to learn meditation from a very good teacher. And in my meditation class, I learned about the science of the mind, because meditation is actually a science. It is the science of the mind. And it helped me tremendously. I was so amazed that with just simple techniques, my stress was reduced. I was more positive. I was much happier and healthier. My health really started getting better just by doing meditation. And I was more productive. I could finally sleep well at night. So seeing all these benefits, I became very interested in meditation, and I started learning more about it, and I started growing myself in the science of the mind. And eventually I became a certified meditation teacher, because I wanted to share these tools and techniques with others so others can benefit too, because I was inspired how these simple techniques helped myself. So I changed the direction of my career as well. So I had started from being a scientist of the physical world. My work was all about studying the materials and the physical world. And now I found a new way. I became a scientist of the mind as well. So I started teaching this wisdom, the ancient wisdom of meditation and these techniques. And gradually, I bridged the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science. And as I was teaching meditation, I started writing articles about it in personal development magazines and wellness magazines to share simple tools and techniques to enhance our well-beings and to reduce stress. So my own experience with meditation taught me that we can actually manage our own mind and we can change our chemistry from inside us so that we can learn how to manage with the events in the outside world. One day I was sitting, after I learned meditation, one day I was sitting in my office at work in Singapore, the same workplace that was giving me a lot of stress. And I realized that I'm sitting in the same place, the external situations in my work is exactly the same, nothing had changed, but I'm not stressed out anymore. I'm actually relaxed and I'm doing my work very productively. And I realized that actually it doesn't matter how the external world is. The external world can bring you stress, you can have some events that you perceive as a stress. But if you know how to manage your inner world, that is when you can change your results and you can help your body heal itself. So I want to tell what is stress actually. You see, stress is a response. Stress necessarily is not a bad thing, is not a negative thing. Stress is a mechanism in our body. It is a response to an external event or even to our own thought. It is a mechanism that is called fight or flight response. And it comes from ancient times. It comes from our ancestors. In ancient times, when our ancestors were out in the wild, they would see perhaps tigers, lions, poisonous snakes, and their body had to produce something in them to help them save themselves, to fight with the danger or to run away. So this fight or flight mechanism would be triggered after they encountered a danger. But after the danger was over, then the body would shift again and it would go to healing and relaxed mode and it would do the repair thing. So stress itself is not a bad thing. And we still live with the same brain that when it sees danger, our brain is triggering the stress response, the fight or flight mechanism in our body. The problem is that in our today's world, in our modern lifestyle, we are encountering stressful events so frequently. We are not supposed to experience this stress response all the time. Our ancestors did not feel stressed 100 times a day, maybe one time a day or 2 times a day. But today in our modern lifestyle, we are experiencing this stress response all the time, almost all the time. And this is very difficult for our body. It takes a lot of energy. And when we are stressed, many secondary functions in our body, they slow down. For example, our digestive function. So that's why that when we are stressed, we face a lot of physical symptoms as well. We have high heart rate, our breathing pattern changes, and our digestion is not perfect anymore. All these are the symptoms of stress. What we can do is to learn how to manage stress. And it is a skill, actually. It is not a special talent. It is a skill that all of us can learn. And this stress response mechanism starts from our own mind, actually. You see, when you see an event, the way you interpret it, the meaning that you give to that event, that determines what kind of response you will have. For example, if right now you see even a tiger and you don't see it as a danger, you will not experience a stress response. So it all depends what happens in our mind. So we participate in this stress response. It's not only about the external event. So that's where our power lies. When we learn how to manage our own mind, when we can train our mind so that it knows how to respond to external situations, then we can control the results we have. We can manage the stress. We can reduce the stress. And I would say that the most effective technique to train our own mind to know how to respond to external world is meditation. Meditation is a very effective technique. It comes from ancient times. It has been there for thousands of years, but there is modern science about it that is showing the effectiveness of meditation. Meditation actually reshapes our brain. Meditation changes the structure and the function of our brain. You see, when you meditate, a different part of your brain is become active. When you are stressed, a certain part of your brain gets active. But when you meditate, a different part of your brain gets active. It actually pulls the blood out from the part of the brain that creates stress. So it reduces the stress. Actually, when you regularly meditate, it makes the size of the brain that is responsible for higher level thinking, your cognitive function, functions like such decision-making ability, memory, creativity. This part of the brain that is responsible for these things, it becomes bigger in size. New cells start to grow in this part of your brain when you meditate. And at the same time, the part of your brain that is responsible for stress, the part of the brain that is responsible for that fight or flight response that I mentioned before, when you meditate, this part of the brain shrinks in size. You see how amazing is that? The part of the brain that is good for you becomes bigger in size, and the part of the brain that is active during stress, it shrinks. So practically, you are reshaping your brain to make a brain that is more relaxed, that is more creative, that makes you more productive, that makes you better decision maker. And you can do all this by just doing the techniques of meditation. So I would say that meditation is a natural antidote to stress. And it's very easy to do. It's just a skill that we can learn, and we just need to practice this skill. And like any other skill, you know, the more we practice it, the better we get better at it, right? The more we get better at it. Meditation is the same. It's proven by science over and over again how effective meditation is and how effective it is in reducing our stress. So I would give you a very, very simple meditation practice. It's perhaps the most popular meditation practice, and it has been used by many people around the world for thousands of years, and it is focusing on your breath. Probably all of you have heard about it. It is extremely simple and it's highly effective. There has been so much research about just this one practice. That when you focus on your breath, it actually calms down your nervous system and it reduces your stress naturally and it relaxes your body and it also slows down your mind. So for this technique, you can just simply, in any place that you are, you can just simply sit or lie down and close your eyes and breathe naturally. Let your body breathe naturally and you just pay attention to your breath. So you pay attention that your body is breathing in and your body is breathing out. and just hold your attention on your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. And that is the technique. You just hold your attention on your breath. And when you do this technique, you will notice that your mind will get distracted. Something else will grab your attention. This is just a natural quality of the mind. So there is nothing to worry about. When you notice that your mind gets distracted, you just simply bring your attention back to your breath. Again, you pay attention that your body is breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathe in, breathe out. And when you notice your mind gets distracted, gently bring back your attention to your breath. We will go with this with about 20 more seconds. Just pay attention to your breath. When you are ready, you can gently open your eyes and pay attention to how you're feeling. So this is a very simple practice, and it is available to all of us at any moment. So whenever we feel stressed or we feel that we need to relax, wherever we are, we can just close our eyes and for a few seconds, for 1 minute, or if you want to do it more, for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, just pay attention to our breathing, and it helps our body relax and it calms down our mind. And when we do that, it actually activates the part of our brain that I mentioned that is responsible for higher level thinking. And it deactivates the part of the brain that is responsible for stress. Now imagine if 10 times a day you do this technique. At the end of the day, how much more relaxed will you feel? So this technique, this is called mindfulness. This technique has been shown to have many benefits. For example, it lowers the heart rate, it lowers blood pressure, it enhances your immune system. As I mentioned, it slows down your mind, and it helps you enhance your concentration. It enhances your focus. And it also, if you do it regularly over time, it helps you make better decisions. It makes you more creative. So when you want to make an important decision, sometimes we feel stressed when we want to make an important decision. So the best way to do is to first relax yourself. To do one meditation technique, for example, this technique, and it helps your brain to be active in the part of the brain that has higher potential. Your decision-making ability will get enhanced, and that's the time to make a decision. And your stress naturally lowers. And it also, this technique, meditation, and especially this technique, is very effective in enhancing your emotional intelligence. As you mentioned, the 5 emotional intelligence by Dr. Daniel Goleman, 5 emotional intelligence has 5 elements. Self-awareness, which is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions. Self-regulation, which is the ability to manage your own emotions. Social skills, which is about being able to interact with other people. Empathy, which is your ability to understand how others are feeling. And motivation, which is that you're motivated beyond external rewards, beyond other people recognize your work. You're motivated to fulfill some need inside you, to fulfill your inner needs. And meditation, especially mindfulness meditation, that has many research has been done about that, enhances all these elements. It enhances your emotional intelligence. So meditation is very, very effective, and it is highly recommended to reduce your stress. So you can do this technique, as I mentioned. And if you want to grow more in meditation, you can always find a good teacher to teach you all the wisdom behind meditation and all the things that you can actively practice to grow your mind. You can learn these from a good teacher, and you can make them part of your life. For example, the wisdom is about how to interact with the world. When you see a tiger, how do you think about it? Do you see it's a danger, or do you think it's okay? When you have 100 emails in your mailbox, for example, some of the stresses of the modern world, how do you perceive that? Do you see it as a threat, or do you see it as a work that if you can manage your time, you can easily get all of them done? All of these is about how we interact with the external world. It is about how we think. This is wisdom. And wisdom is part of meditation. So by learning meditation from a good teacher, you can learn the wisdom of how to think and how to control our thoughts, what thoughts to have so that we can manage our mind. You can learn all these and improve yourself, and you can literally change your life if you know how to manage your mind and what thoughts you can have in your mind. So I would recommend learn meditation from a good teacher and practice it. Practicing meditation is very important. Imagine if you make meditation a part of your daily routine with the benefits that I mentioned. Imagine how your life will be improved. And it is really simple. So that is the most important thing that I would recommend with your readers. I'm open to ask questions, Kate.
Yeah.
to
Dr.
answer
Narjes. Yeah, Dr. Narjes, thank you for a wealth of wisdom and modern ways of understanding stress and from a science perspective. And as you mentioned, I am listening and vicariously living with you in Singapore in the beautiful surrounding. I understand beautiful Singapore. And also, you know, no one's life is perfect, and there's got to be something prodding us to look at and pivot our strategies to become more holistic person. And that's exactly how you felt. And that experience, from looking at it like a silver with a silver lining, it taught you and got you to this path of teaching science and stress reduction, meditation. And I'm sure you are at a better career stage right now because due to that unforeseen incidents in Singapore. And just want to mention to our audience now, everyone's life is imperfect, but how Dr. Narjes handled that imperfection, she turned it into a pearl. And now she has 2 boxes here. And so Dr. Narjes, we want to acknowledge the work that you do in science, and bridging that science to spirituality is an immense work and task. And and that you're doing that work in the world. And so my question to you is, besides the breathing technique, what is another tool that our audience can implement when they get triggered? We get triggered by some incident, And if we're not trained, our mind, our sophisticated mind is not trained yet, what is the go-to next strategy besides the breathing, Dr. Narjes?
Yes, absolutely. Another one of my most favorite techniques is the practice of gratitude. There are a lot of research about gratitude as well. And the interesting thing about gratitude is that it changes your perspective. When we are seeing an event in our life that we don't necessarily like it, it's not necessarily the way that we want it to be, just by shifting our thinking and bringing gratitude in that specific moment, we can reduce stress of that event, of that unwanted event. You see, gratitude is about recognizing and appreciating the positive things in our life. And all of us have some positive things and negative things in our life. It happens in everyone's life. At any point of time, you can find something positive that you like in your life. You can also find something that is not as you like. Let's call it negative. So sometimes when we face that negative side, if we remind ourselves of the positive things in our life, which is a practice of gratitude, then that changes our perspective. Then we will see that our life is not necessarily as bad as we think, is not as difficult as we think. There are many good things happening in our life. And just this shift of mindset, just this shift of our thought will actually relax our body, and it will, the same mechanism will happen actually. When I said the other meditation technique, the same mechanism will happen. It will reshape our brain. The part of our brain that is responsible for higher level thinking, that part will be activated. And the part of the brain that is responsible for stress, that part will be deactivated. Because when we are thinking of threat, when we perceive something as danger, it's a negative thought, right? It's a threat to our life. But when we remind ourselves that we have positive things in our life, then we don't have to worry. Then naturally, we remove that danger from our mind, from our perception. And we activate that part of our brain that helps us expand, helps us see the bigger picture, helps us become better decision makers, helps us become more creative. And that's the practice that I would highly recommend to anyone. So at any point of time, you can just stop for a moment and look in your life at this moment, what are the positive things that I have? And recognize them and appreciate them. And I guarantee you, no matter how difficult your situation might be, you can always find something good. You can always find something positive that you can focus on. For example, if even I have pain in my body, I can see that, okay, the pain is there, I don't want it, it is there, but I have this breath. This breath is keeping me alive. So I am alive. I have this breath that's keeping me alive. Oh, my heart is pumping in my heart. It is keeping me alive. This is a positive thing. My liver is functioning. My brain is functioning. That I can think of all these. I have food to eat. I have a shelter to feel safe. I have clean water to drink. You see, all of these are blessings in our life. These are all positive things in our life. And I guarantee you, anyone can find something positive in their life and that they can focus on. So this gratitude is a very, very helpful, and it's a very effective practice that we can regularly do to make ourselves more positive and to reshape our brain, to see life with a more positive perspective. and to make ourselves more relaxed and help our body relax and help our stress reduce. And then we can function better. We can perform better. Everything we do, if we think that, oh, life is good, I have this positive thing, then we will be more, then we can have higher ability to even solve the problems than that we think we have. We are more capable. We will have higher potential, and we can unlock our own potential to create solutions for the so-called problems. So gratitude is a technique that I highly recommend, especially for becoming happy. Because can you feel sad when you're focusing on something positive in your life? It is very effective in making you feel happy. It is a very effective technique for happiness. And of course, reducing stress. So that's another recommendation that I would have.
I would like to say with consciousness, thank you, Dr. Narjes, for sharing with us the ancient wisdom and modern science. I really feel that. Yeah. You know, the gratitude is a mysterious thing. As you mentioned, we can proactively create this part of the brain that helps us function better and make higher functioning decisions.
Yes.
And the gratitude and the breathing technique can reduce that fight or flight responses that our ancestors sort of evolutionarily created because they needed it. And now in this modern day and time, we can, with our intention, with mindfulness, meditation, stress reduction techniques, we can do this, right? We can expand, and perhaps would you say that we can become a superhuman in the way that we intend to become? You know, we focus on these strategies to become a superhuman. Would you say that?
I'm happy you asked that question, because I believe that all of us have tremendous potential, and we are not even aware of how high our potential is. We can even perhaps become superhuman. And the way to do that is to shape our brain in a way that the part of our brain is the highest level of evolution. That is the part that I was explaining. When we can shape our brain in a way that this part of our brain is more active, then we can reach our highest potential. If you want to call it superhuman, that I like the term, yes, we can be superhuman. And I think, yes, this is the way to reshape our brain in a way that we make this part of our brain more active. Because if we do that, then all our higher capabilities, they can become active, we become creative. We can do things that we cannot do when we are stressed, and this part is not active.
Yes, I agree. You know that, okay, the more we cultivate these mindfulness practices, the better we would, the better our life quality becomes. And that's clear message you deliver with us, share with us, Dr. Narjes. I want to say, yeah, thank you very much. And for audience listening, for deeper healing, and if you would like to mitigate stress effectively, Dr. Narjes has her personal website that is drnarjes.com, drnarjes.com. So if you feel inclined, please contact Dr. Narjes directly. Dr. Narjes, do you have any last thing you would love to share with our audience before we say see you later?
Just one thing I would mention, and that is, I think all of us deserve to feel good, and we all deserve to have our best life. And we all have the potential to learn the skills to live our best life. So I would say that please know that you deserve the best and you deserve your best life. The only thing that you need to do is to find ways, is to seek solutions to enhance your way of thinking, to grow your mind so that you can grow your life, to learn the skills that you need to grow your life and enjoy your life. It's a short life.
Indeed, Dr. Narjes, we enjoy our life. It is a short life and it's a beautiful life. So our audience listening, our week 3 task is to learn about 5 universal emotions according to Dalai Lama, researched by Atlas of Emotion organization. And on week 3, we will do 5 practices of doing new things. So stay tuned, keep up the practice, 20 minutes each day, and you will hopefully and mindfully build healthy habits by the end of our 30-day program. I wish you well, Dr. Narjes, and everyone. See you later.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.